the vision and mission of Ebury.
The mission statement really is, how can we do this more efficiently for our customers? We have currency range which is unparalleled, over 130 around the world. The fintech market doesn't stop moving.
Ebury is very advanced when it comes to the technology it uses.
It takes a lot of time, it takes a few hiccups along the way before you really build a product that actually has an impact. If you want to be in a position of leadership, you have to be able to show that you're able to put in the hard yards. To go global, you have to build local.
Welcome to Rising Sharjah, where we uncover the stories behind the people driving some of the world's most successful companies. Today, we're excited to have Chris Turley, Global Head of Partnerships at Ebury, a leading fintech company known for its innovative solutions in international payments and foreign exchange services. Welcome, Chris.
Great. No, thank you very much for the invite. Looking forward to our conversation this morning.
Let's kickstart with the vision and mission of Ebury. Can you tell us about this?
Ebury started in 2009. Its two founders were Juan Lobato and Salvador Garcia. And it's quite an interesting story behind it. So Juan was a really successful entrepreneur beforehand. And he had some businesses, and one of those businesses needed to make payments into LATAM. And he found when he was using a traditional bank that it was really expensive and it was taking a long time to get payments there. And he was thinking to himself, there must be a better solution out there. So he connected with his friend who was working in finance at the time, and together they formed Ebury. And the mission statement really is, from that inception point that Juan had, which was making payments into not only challenging regions, but regions all over the world, is how can we do this more efficiently for our customers? In our mission statement, we have what is our borders? And that's exactly what our goal is. How do we make what we do more efficient for our customers? And really it's aimed at SMEs, mid-cap corporates, companies that are out there transacting internationally. We want to make their life as easy as possible.
That's amazing, which brings me to a very important question. We all know that the fintech landscape in the UAE is extremely competitive. Could you throw some light on what does Ebury do to differentiate itself in this market?
It's a challenge, but I think for us, we've been around now for 15 years. And when you're building anything, it takes a lot of time, a lot of investment. And how do we differentiate ourselves? Well, there's a few things I think that are really important to our core product offering that we have, which differentiates ourselves, not only from other fintechs, but even sort of more established financial institutions in the region. So firstly, when I think about if I'm a customer here, what am I looking to do? Well, if I'm an SME here, I'm looking to trade internationally. So one of our key strengths is we have currencies in over 130 around the world. So whether that's if you're making payments in and out of Africa, whether that be South America, whether that be in China or Europe, we have currency range which is unparalleled. We do risk mitigation. So some of these businesses, again, if you're an SME and you're buying goods internationally, it could be that you want to fix your exchange rate. What that basically means is you can buy an exchange rate today and then you can fix it for a period of time. So it could be that you want to do up to 5 years of us. Again, we have the balance sheet that allows us to do that for our customers, that allows them to basically hedge a currency for up to 5 years, which again is unique, not only in this marketplace, but for many companies globally. If we look at other products that we offer a cash management solution, which allows clients, let's say you're an SME again based here and you're an exporter and you want to be able to open up an account in, say, the US or in Hong Kong or Australia in those local currencies, we can give the clients here that access to that infrastructure. Why is that useful? Well, again, if you're a company here and you want to be able to collect funds locally, it makes it faster, it makes it cheaper, and ultimately it makes it more efficient. So for me, they're some of the key product ranges that we have here. I'd say the only other thing as well to add to that is our global presence. So we have now, I think, over 40 offices around the world, and we employ over 1,700 people. So that really gives us a differentiating factor. We're not local, we really are global, and that helps us understand a lot of the payments, understands a lot of the infrastructure that goes into making these transactions really efficient for our customers.
I think what you've just explained to us is completely unheard of for me, and which makes it so amazing that you can hedge your exchange rate for 5 years, which is an exceptional offering for customers. Which brings me to your role at Ebury. You are the global head of partnerships, and we all know partnerships are very vital to the success of an organization. Can you tell us what goes into getting successful partnerships at Ebury?
What is a partnership, first of all? Well, it's a venture between two businesses or entities to ultimately try and provide more value to our clients. What is our main goal here is to expand the knowledge of Ebury so that the clients, not only in Sharjah, but in Dubai generally, in Abu Dhabi, can really see the product range that we have, and hopefully we can help educate them. For me, what is a most successful partner is working with individuals, companies, and helping them understand our product range so that they can then go out to their client base and add real value to their clients. So if they are making payments, if they are doing transactions and they see that their clients are maybe not getting the best service, maybe the pricing isn't great, maybe they're asking for a product range that their current provider doesn't have, they can say, actually, do you know what? I have a solution for that. And that's when they can interact with us. Equally, we're doing partnerships the other way. So we're working with companies that are doing lending that we can't do locally. So we're trying to work both ways because it has to be a joint venture, as we said, between both parties. And the ultimate goal is that the end client sees a benefit from the products and services that we have.
Could you give us an example of one of your most successful partnerships and how did that impact Ebury?
There's a number of partnerships and examples I could give you. I would say that locally, some of the best partnerships we've had have been with accountants here. The reason for that is obviously every day they're working with SMEs, mid-cap corporate businesses, and every day they're seeing problems when it comes to losses on people's balance sheets, when it comes to FX rates. And so they're able to go out to their clients and give them alternatives to their current banking arrangement. And that means that they can come to us and they can give us real knowledge on the problems that their clients are having and how we can help them. And through them, we were able to go to all the clients and we were able to help educate them in terms of what we can do to improve. So, for example, if last year a company had to register a loss on their balance sheet because of an FX loss, that's a really good opportunity time for us to go and educate those clients and say, have you thought about hedging, we mentioned earlier on? Have you looked at different solutions to your FX loss? Because of we see at the moment, this is a really interesting year because it's multiple elections,
right?
And that's creating a huge amount of volatility. So have people thought about that when they're looking at their exchange rates? Probably not. But we can come in and help them to give them a strategy so that they're not hopefully going to lose money when it comes to their buying of selling goods overseas.
That's great, Chris. I've also heard that Ebury is very advanced when it comes to the technology it uses. Could you tell our audiences about what are the technological advancements that Ebury has made as compared to its competitors?
I think the first thing is that we all take technology for granted. We've all got apps on our phone. We all demand access to whether it's to social media content, market information in seconds. And me being at Ebury now for over 12 years, I've been on the other side of the fence. When we started, we didn't have anything. And it takes a lot of investment, takes a lot of time, takes a few hiccups along the way before you really build a product that actually has an impact to clients. And I think as well, that's going to continue to happen, right? We're continually trying to improve our platform and our service to our clients. So how do we differentiate ourselves from where we are? Well, first of all, we've got a world-class platform that clients can interact with. If you're looking to transact internationally, you don't need to pick up the phone to us. Don't get me wrong, we love speaking to people. So if you want to, you're welcome to. But people prefer sometimes just to go on the system to be able to book any exchange rates that they have. So first of all, we have that. And it's super easy to use. We have API connections. So an API is where someone can connect into an existing platform, but Ebury behind the scenes will make the exchanges. Again, that's something that's really growing in the market. I think there's going to be a real drive of that as people want to create efficiencies in how they're doing business. So that's something that I think is going to happen as well. And then another part of the business, which isn't necessarily client-facing, but has a real impact in terms of how we offer our service, is the speed of our back office team. So when it comes to financial service, a lot of sparkle, I guess, is people going out and showing this great system. What people don't take into consideration is the work that goes behind the scenes. So we've had hundreds of people in our business that work both from a tech perspective and from an operations perspective. That means that reconciliation of funds, when funds come in, they're reconciled to clients' accounts really quickly, and payments going out is done in seconds, if not minutes. And we have, I think, nearly 99% of our payments are done in seconds. What does that mean for the customer? Well, it means that you're going to get a notification as soon as funds hit. You're going to get a notification as soon as payments go out. And that's all done within minutes, which is what I love about our service.
I believe you've used technology to completely streamline the way the business interacts with the customer, and you've made the customer's life that much easy, because when you're talking about finances and funds coming in and out, you want to feel secure and on top of things in your business, which I think Ebury has done so well. I want to now pick your mind a little bit on the challenges that customers or audiences in Sharjah or UAE face in terms of cross-border transactions.
So what's interesting for me is coming from different markets. So I'm lucky enough that I've spent time in different places around the world. What I love about this particular market is how entrepreneurial it is. Everyone here is trying to drive forward their businesses. The challenge that has, I guess, is if we look back historically, lots of bad actors, as we say, have come into the region. Dubai and UAE was moved off of the FATF list as a grey zone about 3 or 4 months ago. There was 2 years it was on it. Now, that has created a lot more focus on anti-money laundering and how we mitigate that risk in our business is the biggest challenge, not only to banking and to financial services here. It's a global problem. But obviously the fact it was on the grey list here has been an issue. I think that's something that we're working and solving in the marketplace. And I think what was really interesting is how quickly the UAE moved off that list and how committed it is to ensuring that only the good customers are here. So for me, that's a great opportunity for us to be able to grow. We're already seeing huge growth in the marketplace as people are looking to us, but that's still going to be I think a hangover, if you will, from that particular challenge. And that's something that we're all working towards to try and improve. That we want to bring sort of UAE PLC, if you will, more worldly recognised as an actual leader in this particular space. So I think it means AML is going to be continually worked on hard here, and due diligence and compliance is going to be a constant growing figure in the region.
Keeping this challenge in mind, is there something unique that Ebury does to help customers overcome these challenges or make a cross-border transaction simpler?
Yeah, there is. What we've found here is a lot of companies that are similar to us, they have rep offices down here. So what that basically means is they'll have some people that are here and selling on the ground. What they haven't done is they haven't built the local infrastructure. Now, one of the things that we found here, and a bit of a cheesy tagline, but I think to go global, you have to build local. And part of that is we have our compliance, we have onboarding here. Now, they understand the local nuances in the market. They understand risk locally, which if I had someone from the UK, they wouldn't understand the market here. And trust me, after being here for 3 months, there are things that are different in this market than there are in the UK, as there are in France, as there's going to be in Hong Kong, where we have other offices. So every market needs its own infrastructure to be able to help not only us interact with our local clients, but do it in a really secure way. And I think that's what we're doing really well here. And we're going to continue to invest in this market. We want to be this as a local hub. We're looking to expand even further, and we need to have the right infrastructure to do that.
Perfect. Which brings me to a question about the future. Looking ahead, what are the trends you see shaping the fintech sector or the demand for your products in the UAE?
I mean, the fintech market doesn't stop moving. I think one of the biggest changes we've seen, not only here, and here seems to be a hub for it, but globally, is blockchain, crypto. We hear it mentioned all the time. What they've done, though, really successfully is help shake up our industry. So, if you're making payments to, say, Australia, you have to wait maybe 2 days for that transaction to get there. And the reason is there's time zone differences and banks have to do their checks. What blockchain has been able to show is that these things can be done faster. That's set a benchmark, if you want, to businesses like us and to the payment rails and the banks that we work with, is how do we improve efficiency? How can we make payments? So I think that you're going to see the market move towards that. Now, whether that's incorporating blockchain within businesses like ours, or whether that's the existing providers in the market having to create new infrastructure to be able to compete, I'm not quite sure yet who's going to win that battle. Probably a little bit of both, if I'm honest with you. So I think we're going to see payment speed increase, efficiency increase. I also think that AI, everyone's talking about it. I'm definitely not a techie, so I have no idea how this is going to impact us. But already you're going to probably see finance directors, people in the businesses working with AI technology to be how do we improve efficiency of making payments? How do we budget our exchange rates? Things of that nature. So obviously we have to be working with those companies and technologies to try and make sure that we roll that out to our customers, because again, we want to make sure that they have the best in the market.
And moving on, Chris, we know you have extensive experience in global markets. What would you recommend to companies based in Sharjah or in the UAE that are looking to expand globally?
It's 2 points for me. Point number one is understand your market culturally. There's a huge difference in cultures from, say, Hong Kong to France to here to the UK. So for me, I'm lucky enough that I've been to a few of these regions and seen offices and traveled to them. And it always takes me a bit of time to get adjusted to the demands and to how you communicate with people from different worlds. And it's something that I'm very appreciative of the travel that I do, but it's something that I think if I'm doing business internationally, slowing it down, really hearing and understanding what your clients are saying is really important. Secondly is when it comes to more business perspective, is the exchange rate risk. So if I'm doing business in Hong Kong, or if I'm doing business in Canada, have I factored in the cost of doing an exchange there? What I found here is a lot of people, because dollar dirham is pegged, they'll be buying goods from China and they'll say, well, our currency is dollar, so I've got no exchange rate. What you find, and what we've been saying to people, is get a dual invoice. Get an invoice that's in Chinese renminbi, get an invoice that's in dollar. And what you quickly work out is the supplier, for example, will increase or create a spread on their dollar payment because they're the ones that carry the exchange rate risk. They've got to convert that into local currency. So what they do is they put a small markup on their exchange rates. Now, if we could go to the client directly and say, well, I'll just pay directly in renminbi, actually, they can bring their costs down but at the moment they think they're doing dollar. So there's little things that we can do when you're working internationally to really help educate and to give clients alternatives.
Chris, as we're progressing towards the end of the podcast, our audiences would be curious to know a little bit more about you. Could you tell us how has your journey been as a global head of partnerships over the years and leading a fintech firm in the UAE?
Yeah, so I started right at the bottom and I came into the industry. I think I had a midlife crisis at 30. So I've had a few of those. So I left another job in a different industry and started again at Ebury right at the bottom. And that was a really good grounding for me. It helped me understand the fundamentals of our business. And then I went into partnerships very early into that because I generally had a leaning to working in combination in joint ventures with different individuals and different businesses to help them grow. And that was really exciting for me because not only were we building partnerships, but we were also helping out end clients. I did that for several years. And then I took on a more leadership role within Ebury. I looked after the UK team beforehand, but I always had visions of working overseas. I didn't want to work just in the UK. And I was lucky enough that when my role went to a more global role, I was working obviously with different individuals around the world and essentially passing knowledge on to them. I guess for me, the difficulty is I love meeting clients. I love meeting people. And as my role has progressed, I've had to take more time of helping individuals and help their skill set improve in order to grow. And the problem, I guess, is how do I impart that knowledge onto as many people as possible? Being in Dubai, really helpful for me because from a time zone perspective, people talk about being in the center of the world, and it really is. That for me is the exciting part of being here and I guess my journey. And I want to keep what we're doing growing both locally and all the different offices around the world.
That's amazing, Chris. And as the last question, I want to know from you, what is the one leadership lesson that you think has been a main driver to your success in the fintech industry?
Probably, I can't necessarily put it on one, but for me, it's always about having goals. So when I started at Ebury, I had a goal of what I wanted to do within the first 2 or 3 years. I think a lot of people come in and they, first of all, they want more from the business than what the business is able to give. I want this. Well, you need to work for that. So what's really important is you have goals and how you achieve those. You might have to change that as your journey, but if you haven't got a goal, then you're never going to know where your journey is going to go. And for me as well, it's about work ethic. I think it's really important that people understand that if you want to be successful, if you want to be in a position of leadership, you have to be able to show that you're able to put in the hard yards. And that means maybe sometimes you're working a bit later. Maybe that sometimes means you're traveling around the world when you're eating into family time. And, the job does come at a sacrifice. And it's difficult to make sure you have those balances. But for me, setting goals and making sure you work is really important. One thing I'd say outside of that is read. Like, again, you want to invest in yourself. People always say this, if you want to be successful, it's not about doing an 8 till 6 or a 9 to 5 job. I always make sure I read every day to improve my own personal value and my own personal knowledge. So yeah, those 2 or 3 things I think would be from a...
I think that's amazing and completely spot on. Our discussion today has had so much that our audiences can learn from and take back. So that brings me to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. It's been a complete pleasure meeting you and speaking with you today.
Thanks very much. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on Rising Sharjah. Stay tuned for more episodes that bring you closer to leaders and innovators driving today's markets.